Recently, I finished reading the Book of Proverbs, and this is just a video that I'm making to put all of my favorite verses grouped up. So we're going to have a group or like an idea that Proverbs teaches, and then a couple of verses that kind of like point to that. And then at the end of the video, we're just going to have like a bunch of miscellaneous verses. So let's start with the first group or idea of verses, which is good counsel. The Book of Proverbs teaches a lot about how important and how wise it is to have good counsel, good people around you that can guide you in the right direction. I am going to be reading these off of like a screen because I can't memorize all these. So if you see me looking over there, that's what it is. And I have 4 verses for this idea of good counsel. There's probably more in the book, but this is the ones that I pointed out. Proverbs 1:5, which says, "A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels." Another verse, Proverbs 13:20, "He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed." Proverbs 27:17, which is, "Iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend." And going back into the book a little bit, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 15, "The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise." And that is the first group of verses, which is good counsel. That's the idea. That's the first thing that we've learned from Proverbs. I'll have all of the verses in the description just so that if I'm going too fast or if you just want to see all of them in one place, you can just go in the description. But yeah, that is the first group. That is good counsel. The next group is accepting the correction of others. Pretty much the idea that if somebody's trying to help you get better, if somebody's giving you advice, that you should take it and not just be prideful and just be like, "I don't need it" type thing. So here's some verses for that. If I count, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's 5 verses for this group. First verse being Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." Saying that you're foolish if you go against instruction, if you don't want to learn. Proverbs 3, verses 11 and 12, "My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth. Even as a father, the son in whom he delighteth." Another verse, Proverbs chapter 13, verse 1, "A wise son heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke." And you kind of get the idea. I got 2 more verses, but you get the idea that listening to instruction, listening to advice, listening to people trying to correct you is a wise thing to do. Another verse, Proverbs chapter 13, verse 18, "Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction, but he that regardeth reproof shall be honored." In the last verse, Proverbs 15, verses 32 and 33, "He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility." These verses all teach that it is wise to listen to instruction. When somebody's trying to help you out, if somebody's trying to teach you something, you should listen to it. Don't just push it off, or don't just be like, "Nah, I'm good." Actually try to listen, because that is wise. The next lesson I want to go over from Proverbs is the idea of holding your tongue, right? The value in holding your tongue. For this group, we have 4 verses, so let's just get into it, right? Proverbs chapter 10, verse 19, "In the multitude of words there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise." Another verse, Proverbs chapter 11, verse 12, "He that is void of wisdom despiseth his neighbor, but a man of understanding holdeth his peace." Proverbs 13, verse 3, "He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction." And the final verse, Proverbs 17, verse 28, "Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding." See, all these verses, they all point to the idea that it is wise to hold your tongue, right? Sometimes you can say something that you don't mean, or you say something that even worsens the situation. Or if you're angry or emotional or something like that, then if you don't hold your tongue, you could say something to provoke somebody else. The next group of verses we're going to be going over from Proverbs is going to be fearing the Lord and trusting in him. The verse we're going to start with is Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, which says, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding." We're going to jump really far into the book, Proverbs 29, verse 25. "The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe." And the next verse is in chapter 23, verse 17 of Proverbs, which says, "Let not thine heart envy sinners, but be thou in the fear of the Lord all the day long." And if you're wondering what the fear of the Lord is, there's another verse that is in Proverbs that goes over what that means. So Proverbs 8, verse 13 says, "The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate." So that's what the fear of the Lord is, just hating evil, pretty much. The book of Proverbs teaches us that we should both trust in the Lord and fear in the Lord. The next thing I want to go over that Proverbs teaches is that we should be slow to anger. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 17 says, "He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated." Another verse in the same chapter, verse 29, "He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but he that is hasty of spirit exalteth folly." The next chapter, chapter 15, verse 18 says, "A wrathful man stirreth up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife." I know I'm kind of stuttering a little bit. These words are so hard to say sometimes, so just bear with me. But in the chapter after that, verse 32 of chapter 16 says, "He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city." So, what do these verses all say? They all say that it is powerful, it is wise to be slow to anger. And then I'm sure there's more than one reason to be, but the reason that I think of is just it can cloud your judgment. If you're angry, then you don't make the right decisions all the time. The next set of verses are concerning how you treat your enemies. So chapter 24 of Proverbs has 3 verses we're going to be going over on this specific topic. Verse 17, we're starting off with, "Rejoice not when thine enemy falleth, and let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth." 2 verses later, verse 19 says, "Fret not thyself because of evil men, neither thou be envious at the wicked." And then 10 verses after that, verse 29 says, "Say not, I will do so to him as he hath done to me. I will render to the man according to his work." And that last verse is pretty much saying that you should not take revenge yourself, that you should let God handle it. And there's one more verse, chapter 25, 21. "If thine enemy be hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he be thirsty, give him water to drink." Christianity teaches that we should treat our enemies as our friends. Jesus tells us to love our enemies, and Proverbs seconds that. The next lesson we're going over from Proverbs is concerning pride. Proverbs 11 verse 2, "When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom." Proverbs 16 verse 18, "Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." There was just 2 of them, so that's all I could find. I'm sure there's more. Like I said, all these sections, I'm sure there's more verses that speak on these subjects, but these are just the ones that I found. Like I have, where's it at? I have a handheld Bible, and I use a pen to just kind of like go over important verses, and I just looked at these. These were all the ones I highlighted. So of course, there's probably more of them, but these are the ones I found. Hey, this is me editing this. There was too many verses that are in the miscellaneous category, so I'm just going to put them on a community post if you want to know about them. But that's all I got. If you'd like to want to be saved, I have a video here. If you want to start self-improvement, I have a video here. Thanks for watching, and praise God.